Good morning and good afternoon, respectively, to everybody, and welcome to the webinar. I've been looking forward to do this, and in doing this, and in our preparation, it has been very good to reflect on kind of the dilemma, and certainly in our country, a crisis in the terms of understanding wealth building. In terms of fiscal responsibility, whether you take a look at national government, I live in California, and they're, our Sacramento leaders fiscally have been about as dumb as a brick and run our state upside down, while the feds are running their government upside down. And while I can't do a lot about that except go vote for people I think can have some clue about fiscal responsibility, one thing I can do is I can make sure my own house is in order. And in fact, it becomes increasingly important to get your own house in order, since on a governmental level, so few houses are in order. Now, I remember a quote from Barbara Bush, the wife of the first Bush that was president. This isn't a political statement, but it was a very reflective thing. The way so many times the good wives and mothers and grandmothers put things in perspective. And she said it's a lot less important what happens in the White House than it is what happens in your house. And so I'm going to talk to you about your house and your mind. It's an interesting photograph, X-ray here. This isn't about greed or money on the brain, but it's about having the right mentality for acquiring and keeping wealth. And so that you and your family can be financially secure, can get to a position where you have more peace of mind that way, a greater quality of life, in a world that's gone crazy with this stuff the last 20, 30, 40 years, where we're such fools on almost an epic level across the board. And so it is very important that you get these things clear in your thinking. And because it's like I feel like we're fighting in leadership a disease, and where people can't stop from buying stuff, spending stuff, doing this stuff well before they can afford it. And they just, so few of us come out of families or homes, I sure didn't, that have a wealth building mentality or really an understanding. It's kind of the concept behind the book, Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There were two people in his life that were both wonderful people and people of integrity, but one understood what it took to build wealth and the other didn't. I can really recommend that book, by the way. There's another good one called The Millionaire Mind, that take a lot of the myth out of that, because a lot of you picture someone who's wealthy as spending a lot of stuff and kind of going, having all this stuff and bling and whatever. And that's not a trademark of people who have built wealth and are maintaining wealth. There can come a day and time where you make purchases and you do it intelligently, but it's you got to be thinking right. So I'm going to reverse the psychology on this and take it in a little bit of a different track. So instead of talking to you about what you need to do, I'm going to talk to you about how to become a financial failure. So I'm going to coach you on how to be broke. If you're not broke, how to get broke. And if you are broke, how to stay broke. So I'm excited about this, thinking that I can help you in this way. But obviously I want to do reverse psychology. So I'm going through some of these things over the next few minutes. If you have symptoms of how to be a financial failure, I want to congratulate you on your path downward to poverty and frustration and stress and unhappiness. It's wonderful. I just want to give you a sense of things to look forward to. And if your spouse isn't anywhere near, you can go home to your spouse if you're married and share your excitement that now you've got a very clear plan on how to be devastatingly poor. And so I'm excited about that and very happy for you that we get to show you these things. Is that enough reverse psychology for you? All right, so let's go with how to be a financial failure. Step one, don't improve yourself, right? because you'll screw things up then. If you get better, you're going to earn more. You'll do better at everything that you're doing. So let's talk about some things you want to make sure you don't do. One, don't learn all you can about your profession. Don't be serious about the business. Don't study the system. Don't study the products and don't study how to sell. Certainly don't get with other people and drill your presentations and practice and get sharp, and if you're struggling with something, just sit and struggle. Don't ask for help. Don't get anybody to coach you. If you don't know how to talk to somebody on the phone, oh man, don't ask somebody who knows how to talk to people on the phone and then learn from them. Stay in ignorance. And so because that way, you just won't get better. Your business won't get better and you won't make much money. It'll be wonderful. Now, if that sounds crazy to you, I hope it does. It is amazing to me how I watch people in this business struggle with stuff, and they won't go seek help. They won't ask questions. They won't get mentorship. They won't reach up somewhere until finally they get an idea of how to do it. I tell you what, that is one thing that I was determined to do when I started this thing. So, wait, I started to go to the things you had to do. I'm sorry. I got to stay with the things that you don't improve yourself. Back to that. So next one, I've already covered. Don't listen to good coaching. Whoa, it's changing colors on me here. Is that just on my screen? Okay. And wait, yellow, white. I'm being hypnotized. So don't listen to good coaching. Next one, don't read good books, because otherwise you'll start thinking about new patterns of thought and winning ways, and you'd be getting good coaching. And you're trying to learn. If you do that stuff, see, if you remove the word don't from this list here in a minute, we'll reread these. Next one, don't commit. You don't want to show that commitment level, because that'll change the way people respond to you. It'll change your performance. And finally, don't work hard. So if you want to be a financial failure, this is part of what you've got to do. Now, if you're sitting here and you think, I'm not really trying that hard to learn all I can about my profession. I'm not really listening to good coaching. I'm not reading good books. My commitment level probably could be analyzed, and I'm not working that hard. Then congratulations, you're on track. And if you continue in this path, I want to set you can be poor all your life. Isn't that wonderful? And so that it can last your entire lifetime, and like it does for so many, and you can look around yourself and take satisfaction in the fact that you stayed among the average and ordinary, that mediocrity and worse is your destiny, and that your kids can grow up looking at that, and we'd be proud of you. And we would give you a plaque for that, but the cheapest plaque is like $6, and that's too much to spend on you when you're doing these kind of things. So what should you be doing? You should be learning all you can about your profession. You should be listening to good coaching. You should be reading good books. You should commit more fully, and you should work hard. If you want to be financially successful, you got to go that direction. If you don't want to be financially successful, then you stay with the don'ts. And there you go. So the first step to financial failure, or if you're already there, to staying there, is don't improve yourself. Next, you got to spend everything you earn, you guys. Everything you earn. You kind of see, isn't that a great picture? And you just flush it all. And I hope that toilet's liable to clog, but yeah, you can clear it out, and then you can put some more money down there. Too many of you are doing this now. We've all tried it, but let's talk about the mantra you could have. Here we go. This is the modern mantra. I don't want to wait. I deserve it now. So I'm going to spend money I don't have. I'm going to borrow money I can't afford. I'm going to put myself behind the 8 ball, and I'm going to flush a lot, and I'm going to be paying interest instead of making it. So you got to be saying this to yourself. You wake up in the morning and you'll say this. Well, I'll come back to that. Here's another part of your mantra. Daggone it, the future can take care of itself. I'm going to live in the moment. And that part, some of that's not too bad. Now I'm going to just live in the moment, pretend there's no tomorrow, and not take responsibility. And I'm going to justify it by saying to myself, everybody else is doing it. So you can look around you and you'll have lots of company out there in the tent city, and you can talk to each other about how it's not your fault. Besides, I want to spend all my money now because I want to show off, because I love to show off. Rather than being more conservative, you've got to have people going, oh, you must be doing something because look at the car you just bought. Or look at this too big a house you just bought, or whatever it is, right? And while you're in this mindset, you'll conclude it by saying, hey, I'll start saving someday. So this is your mantra. You get up in the morning, right? You get out of bed and you have it there, maybe on your wall or on a notebook beside the bed, and you pull it off. You say, I don't want to wait. I deserve it now. The future can take care of itself. Everybody else is doing it. Besides, I love to show off, and maybe I'll start saving someday. So how does that sound? You think that's going to work? How are you doing with that? Can you be convicted of any of these, mentality-wise? Now, I'm having some fun with this, and I got to believe probably everybody listening to this call wants to win. Why would you be on it otherwise? Why would you take the time? Some of you taking time from work. Some of you taking time from just other things you could be doing. I'm looking up here, and we have a pretty good-sized crowd on the call, and a lot of offices and a lot of people listening. But I'm telling you, it's still too many of us are doing some version of this. You can't get yourself to wait. Save the money. Buy it cash. Even wait to see if you even want it. Don't confuse need with wants, you guys. The future's only going to get taken care of if you take care of it by the things you do now. Just because everybody else is being foolish, and our governments are being foolish, that's just all the more reason you've got to get and keep your act together. When you get in the show-off thing, which is about pride, is about ego, boy, there's an old line from a movie, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. And that was from a movie called Top Gun, when he crashed the $30 million plane. And showing off is not a worthy motivation. It's not a reflection of good character. I don't think I haven't shown off before. I have. It's just, but it doesn't get me anywhere. And anyway, and the someday needs to be today. All right. So the first things you do, though, if you do want to be broke, is you don't improve yourself and you spend everything you earn. So let's look at the next thing. And this is a big part of staying broke, you guys. And really a big part of being unhappy, too. So if you want to be broke and unhappy, that's the double whammy right there. This is a big one for you. And so you should be getting excited about this. Principle 1, it is important to never accept the blame. It's going to always be somebody else's fault, not yours. Right? So you're pointing with your finger. And I remember hearing this when I heard this the first time. Whenever you're pointing your finger, you look back, there are at least 3 fingers pointing at you. And so you got to get into the blame game. The reason you're not winning financially, the reason you're not making it, the reason you're not saving, the reason you're not getting your act together is let's just go through this stuff. It's the economy. No, it's the high cost of living. It's the expense, Trevor, of raising children. It's taxes. Well, I tell you, that's legitimate. Some of those last two actually have some application. It's your job. It's your boss, or your leader, right? It's your spouse, your parents, your grandparents, your cousin. Insert, anyway, your next door neighbor, someone you met 12 years ago, a guy you read about in People magazine, whatever it is, you can throw it in there. As long as it's not you. That's the key thing, right? Throw in anything else that comes to mind as long as it's not yourself. Anything but you. right? It is always everybody else's fault. It's not yours. It is circumstances. It is people. It is upbringing. It is the government. It is whatever it is, right? Your spouse doesn't encourage you enough. Your kids are weird. Whatever. And you just got to refuse to take responsibility. This is one of the keys to failure in any area. And you've got to get yourself together here. You've got to be embracing this concept of refusing to take responsibility. Because if you don't, you're liable to become successful, right? And that would screw up the whole plan here. So their plan is how to be a financial failure. So you remember the first principle? Don't improve yourself. Next one, spend everything that you earn. And then one of the heart key, absolutely critical points, refuse to take responsibility. And the next facet is really refuse to accept responsibility. The first one is just refuse to take responsibility. But now we're really going to refuse to accept responsibility. This is another level of play, and you're going to have to fire up to get here. So as you're really refusing to accept responsibility, here's what you got to do. You got to be creative as you justify your spending habits and lack of savings, right? You got to be creative and removing yourself from as part of the problem and as part of the equation as to why you're not winning. So you got to be able to say things like this. Your upbringing makes you do it. Here's another good one for you. You're hearing voices telling you to spend. You wake up in the middle of the night and you heard somebody say, go buy this, go buy that. Hopefully it wasn't your spouse whispering to you. Anyway, or you're just driving and you think you're hearing voices. Well, one, go get professional help. And two, keep listening to those voices, I guess. So that one was for me, so I could get a laugh out of this. Here's another one. You saw it on TV, and you have to have it, right? Boy, once you see it on TV, you got to get it, I guess, because it says you'll be cool or smell better, or women will love you, or men will love you, or something. And you certainly want to be cool, and you want people loving you, so you got to go get it. Here's another one. It makes you cool, right? So that's another way of justifying your spending habits and your lack of savings. It just makes you cool. Now, you can combine that with hearing voices, and boy, you're pretty special. All right, next one. It makes you so very happy. Does it? Anyway, but it makes you happy, you think. Just for that moment when you're buying it. Now, there's a little bit different feeling after the fact, and when you're under the gun, and you're having trouble paying your bills, and there's a bunch of stress in your marriage and your family and with your children. And then try and figure out if it makes you so very happy. See if it makes them so very happy either. Here's another one for you. This is a good one. Congress does it, which is actually true. And a bunch of states, your state government does too. The Assembly does it. The Senate, whatever they call it, wherever you are. But there's some states that have gotten their act together, and I'm proud of them. But Congress does it. And finally, the sum up one, when you really, really refuse to accept responsibility, is you've had a lifelong goal to be an idiot, right? Which is awesome, and actually, the coaching I've given on the last 4 slides and just increased your chances that you'll reach that goal. And people go, they'll say your name, and then they'll say that guy's an idiot. And maybe we could even get the company to do a business card that has that as a title. And it says Rich Thawley, underneath it says idiot. And which would be exciting to pass that baby out. And they go, really, you're an idiot. What makes you an idiot? And, well, I don't try to improve myself. I spend everything I earn. I refuse to take responsibility. In fact, I really refuse to take responsibility. And that officially puts me in the idiot category, which is very exciting. And but I'm not done yet. There's one more slide. I want you to get excited about it. I want you to take a breath. Anticipate how cool this one's going to be. what can we add to not improving ourselves, spending everything, and refusing to take responsibility? It's got to involve the word wait. So what does it mean? We're going to, oops, sorry, we had one, what was that on the bottom of that? Oh, yeah, one thing I had added here that I'd forgotten. Soon, you'll actually begin to believe your excuses. So all you got to do is just keep repeating it to yourself. Repeat it over and over again. It's my parents. It's my voices. It's TV. Whatever. Everybody doing it type thing. You keep repeating. That's a cool thing about excuses. You repeat them long enough, you actually begin to believe them. Now, you're still broke, but that's okay. That's part of how it works. All right. Now, here's the next one. Waiting for the timing to be right. Woo! All right. This is awesome. You got to have your list ready as to why you're waiting. Because you got to be able to justify it to your spouse, justify it to the rest of your family, justify it to yourself. Or when you hear me talk about this, you go, yeah, Rich, but, you always got to be able to throw that but up there and then start coming up with your excuses, your other reasons for why you're not saving money and why, you're going to stay poor. So this is a big deal. So you got to get this one right. So let me prime the pump and see if I can get your thinking shaped in such a way that we can pretty much lock in a very poor financial future. So let's look at it. When you're in school, you got to wait till you graduate before you start saving money. So you got to say that to yourself over and over again. Hey, the reason I'm not saving money is I'm waiting until I graduate, right? But then you graduate, so you got to have something else going on. When you're a graduate now, you got to wait till you get married. That you're really going to start saving money. You've got a family, and that's when you worry about it. Up to now, just spend and party, just do whatever you want to do. But then there's a problem. Someday, a bunch of you are going to get married. So what are you going to do then? Oh, okay. You're going to wait till you buy a home. We can't really do any long-term savings, any big planning long-term, because we got to buy a home. But dang it, then you buy a home. And so when you buy a home, you got to wait till you fix it up, right? Because you got the stuff you want to do. It wasn't exactly like you wanted it. You want this over there and that over there, and the backyard looked like this, and there's all those kinds of things. And then you start fixing up the home, and some of these happen around the same time. But let's say you fixed it up. Now what are you going to do? You got to wait till you have children, right? Because children can be expensive, and you just, anyway. And so it's all about children then. And now you really got it going. It builds momentum here, right? You go to school, to graduate, married. You got to buy a home, you got a home, you got to fix it up. You fix it up, you got to have children. Woo! Now we got it going. When you have children, you got to wait till they go to college. That buys you 18 freaking years. It's awesome. You can just blow out your life through this stretch. Making that excuse to yourself and all that stuff and it's awesome. And then you have multiple children, so it's 18 years at the end of each one of those. So let's say you had 3 kids. For Cindy and I, if we followed this path, we were 29 and a half years in child rearing before our last Brett is out of the house now. And so we would have been able to procrastinate 29 and a half sweet years if we'd been using that as an excuse or we hadn't made it a priority. And here's the fun one. When they go to college, you got to wait till they graduate. So that buys you who knows how many years. If your kids are also working on being idiots. And so, because they're following the example and you set for them. We're doing great, aren't we? And so now they'll take probably 5, 6, 7 years and now you're in your 50s, broke and taking a job at Home Depot. Woo! You look good in that orange apron. Excuse me. Where do you keep light bulbs? Well, that's on aisle 19. Okay. Where are the power drills? That's on aisle 8. Wonderful. I need a vacuum cleaner. Well, that's on aisle 4. See? You start warming up right now. By the way, what's interesting enough, that's the actual CEO of Home Depot. So he's kind of in a different perspective. You see, I don't mind you wearing the Home Depot thing as long as you're CEO of the company. But the reality is you can't be waking up to your dilemma in the 50s. And I feel like I sit down and talk to people every dang day that have put themselves in that position. And while we're laughing about some of this, this is our country. This is what we're seeing right now. We just keep procrastinating, making excuses. You know, and so as you look at your life and you think about what you want from it, you know, it's interesting. We'll just leave this up here before we go to the next slide. You know, I was visiting an office last week in a different state, and someone asked me about retirement because I turned 60 in July, you guys. And Ed and I were talking about this in a slightly different context. He said he was talking to his dad, and you know, we were talking about different people, and he was talking about me how we didn't have to do it. I mean, certainly financially we don't. Which has, for us, has literally nothing to do with it, other than we love the position we're in economically with our family. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about retirement. You know, retirement isn't a part of my language. Now, not because I'm some special guy that just wants to keep working. Though I believe in work is literally an eternal principle. It's critical for our happiness. It's critical for our effort. But so many people work at things they don't really want to do, or they don't like doing, or they even hate doing. But they keep fighting it, you know, and doing it. And I have a lot of respect for people who keep showing it, because that's what's paying the bills and keeping the roof over their head and feeding the kids. And I mean, that's the stuff's to be admired. But at the same time, that's what, when you're in that mode, is when you think about retirement. I'm in the greatest business in the world. We have the opportunity and privilege every day to help people by, if we're doing the right things, you know, tens, hundreds, thousands, depending on the size of our organization. You know, we have a chance to just really have wondrous things happen for us financially in the business, and the prosperity with the power of our business model and the multiples and all the things that we have going for us. But I wake up energized every day about what we do for people. I wake up energized about opportunity. I wake up energized about offering it to people. And then at the same time in my life, with all this happening, all these wonderful things have been happening, now I'm able to travel with my wife and, you know, these trips, because the last one's out, and that's an amazing new era too. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next 20 years like you can't believe, you know, and in so many ways, you know, we just get better and better at this thing. And so, you know, every day you want to be the best you've ever been. And so why would I mean, that sounds like a nightmare, doesn't it? I'd want to get that stopped as soon as possible. I mean, I'm loving this. And so it's no part of my thinking, you know, and I'm excited to help people break this cycle. I tell you what, we've had enough reverse psychology, because I do want you to improve yourself. I want you to stop spending everything you earn. I want you to take responsibility. And I want you to understand the timing's now. You know, but before we go that, you know, let's do one last slide. Even though I'm tired of doing it, I'm going to do one last slide. For those of you who do really want to be poor, because there's some of you out here, based on your actions and the things you say and the way you're doing it, that you are determined, right, to end up somewhere in poverty. So the last page of it, after don't improve yourself, spend everything you earn, refuse to take responsibility, really refuse to take responsibility, and waiting for the time to be right, is overall, you've got to ignore sound financial principles. You've got to ignore them. You know, so don't read the books. Don't underline them if you do. Throw them away as soon as you're done reading it if you made the mistake of reading it, and so that you can't go back. And so what happens to people, though, you know, that do get weight a little bit later in life? What do a lot of them start trying to do, and in middle age too? One, they try and play catch up by taking big risks. That's why these Ponzi schemes entice people. Ponzi schemes never enticed me, because there isn't any 30% a month or 10% a month or 20% a month. Like those kind of things always say are going to be there. You know, because your buddy's making 30% a month at a Ponzi, in a great investment. Notice it's in quotes. And that's when I say, can you say Ponzi? All right. And you look at this, and so people are trying to get lucky. What's one thing, and will it go up 20 times? Instead of taking quality returns and thinking right, okay, I'm starting to provide the antidote again, and I got to stop doing that. It's instinctive. So you got to play catch up by taking big risks. Throw your money into whatever, just is making whatever promises they can make, right? Next one. You need to pay thousands to attend seminars and listen to people who've only made money doing seminars. There's a hilarious real life story. I won't mention anybody's thing, but this guy got books and tapes and all this stuff about how to make money in the market. And the only thing he'd done with his own money was lose $1 million in the market. It's the only track record he had. So I guess that might have taught him a little something about what not to do. But now he's coaching people by the thousands, and they're paying him millions of dollars. And anyway, they're attending a seminar to listen to somebody who's only made money doing the seminar. You know, I tell you what, the guys I listen to are the people who are doing it. And the people who've really gotten the rubber to the road. Whoops, I'm doing it again. Don't do that. Ignore what I just said. You've got to pay thousands to attend seminar to listen to people who've only made money doing seminars. And in the end result, here we go. I'll even give you a visual. You can always go to the casino. Woo! Black or red. Almost 50-50. You're probably Brett on the green one. 0-0. That's about the limit of my knowledge about roulette. But you can always go to the casino. Lots of people do. Casinos are full of broke people trying to get lucky. That's crazy, isn't it? Crazy. But this is the kind of stuff people do. You know, they get in a panic mode. They take big risks. They become susceptible to abuse. And that's why you see the elderly being taken advantage of by unscrupulous people because they don't have what they need and they hear these promises or they hope they're true. Despicable. All right? Now, you know what? I just went through however many slides that was. And was that 2468? And I'm thinking about, what I wanted to tell you to now come back to true north and to get thinking right about what we're doing here. Now we're going to spend one slide. That's how simple it is. One slide on the real wealth building mentality and what it looks like. Our overriding principles that you need to live by. Whew, good to get back in the positive. I'm only good for a little bit of reverse psychology now and again. But if you heard too much of yourself in the previous slides, understand you've got to change it. You've got to change it. If you don't, nothing's going to change. And you want it to change. That's why you're here. You want it to get better. You want to be in a position to take care of yourself, take care of the people you love, and then reach out beyond that. Anyway, it's a big deal. So, in other words, the reason I'm going to emphasize this the way I am in this slide is we can show you how to do the business. We can teach you the system. We can help you become disciplined. All right, you can pour it on. You become more confident with people. You're great at making calls. You're great at giving presentations. All right, you give a great overview or BPM or one-on-one or great sales presentation. Now you're a quality closer and you're doing good interviews and you got it all. But if you don't master this stuff, it's kind of like all you did was make your pipe bigger to move more money through to other people and not yourself. And I don't mean philanthropically. I mean you're just blowing your money back to flushing it down a toilet. So we're just going to touch on 3 overriding principles. 1, spend less than you make. There's nowhere to go without this. Right? Spend less than you make. You say, well, my lifestyle takes more than reduce your lifestyle. Get a house is too much, get less of a house. Got cars are too expensive, get rid of them. Spend less than you make. There's a time and a place. And the time is when you truly can afford it, and then wait a little while. Control these urges. Don't fall into this trap. Anyway, we've got to do it. I mean, I just watch it limit so many careers and destroy so many others. And at the very least, I want your contact with this company to get these principles clear in your mind and get you using them. Then if you quit tomorrow, we would have made an overwhelming contribution to your life, to your future careers. And anyway, spend less than you make. Next one. Think long term. I'm going to go hear a guy speak. He's coming to town. Is he dean of the business school? Is Clayton Christensen dean of the business school? He's just big. Dean of Harvard Business School, and I'm going to listen to him. And he gave a tremendous talk a couple of years ago on long-term thinking. I think it was him, and I'm probably accrediting to him and to someone else, but that's what I get. I'm not in front of the National Convention, so I didn't have a fact checker here. And CNN is going to be calling me. But anyway, no, they're not. But whoever wrote it, let me talk about what kind of thought process you got to have in relation to this. We are increasingly in our culture and worldwide, increasingly, notoriously short-term in our thinking. I mean, I swear, there's that old story of the guy that's dying of thirst, comes across the desert, and he comes to this hand pump, the kind you got to pump. The problem is you've got to have water to get the pump to draw, to give it suction, to pull more water out of the ground. And there in an enclosed jar is water, clear water. And this guy's, really thirsty. And he's staring at that bottle. Should he drink it or should he pour it in the pump? And try and pump more. Because the instructions were, use this to prime the pump, and when you got water, refill it and leave it for the next guy. And, there's this whole story about it, and this whole thing is built around the premise when the guy drinks it and dies of thirst, right? A little while later. And as opposed to thinking long-term and priming the pump so he has water ultimately for a lifetime if he wanted it. And so in your thinking, you've got to look long-term. And you've got to understand the ramifications of your actions today if you overspend, if you reach too far. And then that debt and the burden of that debt, even if you come to your senses and then fight your way out of it, it often takes years. And all of that wasted time, and that's one of the principles we teach, right? And don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Don't waste time, because time and compounding are the things that we need working for us the most. And so we love to think so long term. That's what's got our government and these kind of, everybody's so concerned about getting office or holding office. And as they throw the baby out with the bathwater, they forget who they represent and what they're supposed to be fighting for. And both sides can point their finger at each other on this one. So, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. It's just, there just needs to be more long-term thinking. Well, like I say, that they're going to do what they're going to do right now, but you can control you. You can start thinking about longer time frames. All right. But until you get some long-term thinking combined with your absolute commitment to yourself, you're going to spend less than you make. All right. Those two principles linked together are going to be very powerful. And then I'm going to add one more. I want you to get excited. I like this guy. I want you to get excited about saving money. And I want you to get excited a lot earlier than he did. Or maybe he did get excited early. That's why he's got so much. But the bottom line is, you get just about as excited about saving money as you do spending it. Because you think about saving money as spending it on yourself, spending it on your future, buying peace of mind, buying security for your family. That's what you're buying with saving money. You still get to be excited about buying something. But it's reserves, big reserves that are wonderful to have. Wonderful. And as you look at this and we weigh these things, you've got to know that this is fun. And that means you got to give yourself a pep talk about saving money and start visualizing the life you're going to have and the peace of mind you have and how much better it'll be for your relationships, your personal relationships and your family and outside of it, and how you're going to be in a position to help people and help your parents if you need it, or do something within your own family, do something in an extended family, do something for your church. Get excited about saving money and having it. Not for greed's sake, for just the positive things that brings to your life. So you spend less than you make, you're thinking long term, and you're getting excited about saving money. Now, here's the next thing. Guess what? It's the same thing we tell our customer. Have a clear plan. I was just on the phone this morning before this seminar with Scott Ham, who's the president and CEO of Transamerica. We're talking about strategic things and a number of things. But I just talked to him a little bit about what we were covering at the webinar. He says, that is something we got to do a better job of. We tend to think what we teach is the consumer out there, and our own people need to be on this. Do you have a clear plan? If I was one-on-one with every one of you listening right now, and I was looking you in the eye, and we're sitting kneecap to kneecap, and I said, what is the number that you have in your head that is your retirement number, that you are determined to get to the point where you are saving enough money to end up with this number? What's your number? How many of you would know? It scares me, the thought of how many of you wouldn't know or have any real idea. What are you aiming at? What are some of your ultimate goals? Because we're thinking long term. We're excited about savings. You may have a short-term goal. I'm going to get 100,000 cash and then do this. Or I'm going to get $1 million in cash. Or what, some of that's on the moon. Some of you might say, man, I'd like 10,000 in cash. There are, 50,000 in cash. Well, you got to start somewhere, right? How much is that in front of you? Do you have a bar chart on the wall? Do you have it up on the mirror in the bathroom? Do you have one in the office? Do you have one on your dashboard? With what you're looking to get to? I think you should have your recruits there, and I think you have your production this month there. But you got to have a clear plan, clear commitments to yourself that you're determined to reach, and right, what kind of monthly automatic withdrawals. And I say automatic because if it's not automatic, you don't do it. And statistically in our industry, that if you're doing it voluntarily, the chances are 4 to 1 against you reaching your goal. I don't like those odds. If I was stepping into a situation, they said the odds are 4 to 1 you're going to get shot and killed, I wouldn't go out. I'm certainly not going to set up my financial future to get shot and killed. So automatic withdrawals are a critical part of this thing for the consumer and for you. And because they go to 4 to 1 in your favor. Right, total turnaround of 800%. They go to 4 to 1 in your favor with automatic. Now that might not be all you're saving, right? But you set up an automatic withdrawal that's as high as you can make it, hurts a little bit, right? And you automatically are having that happen every month. It gets easier and easier, like all habits do as they entrench themselves. You need to have monthly and annual savings goals. How much were you going to save in 2012? Where do you stand? What was the number for 2012? What do you put aside monthly to make sure you end up there? You got an automatic withdrawal and some things, but now you're also throwing in some more money in there because you're getting increasingly excited about saving money. You're a long-term thinker, and it feels good. But you got to have this stuff. Every one of you, this is a homework assignment. You don't have a plan? Man, do a needs analysis on yourself or have your leaders do it for you, right? Get clear on what you're going to be doing on an automatic savings plan and clearly have monthly and annual savings goals, because this is what people who win, this is how I got where I'm at, you guys. And it's how other guys who've gotten here have done this. It's not like there are a whole lot of ways. There's certainly a whole lot of businesses and a whole lot of stuff you can do to make money in life, but there aren't a whole lot of ways to become financially independent. That's pretty focused. There's no one becomes financially independent that spends more than they make. that thinks just short term, doesn't get excited about being that way. Have a clear plan. Because you see all kinds of people who make a lot of money, celebrities and actors and athletes, and you find out about them a few months later, they're the janitor at the local high school. Nothing wrong with being that. But when you had a chance to win and go all the way and you didn't, it's pretty frustrating to end up there. Now, if you're worth 25 million or 30 million or something like that, and you decide to clean the rooms, that's cool. Right? But it's your choice. And you get to pick. Because that's another thing that happens. When you start living this way, you get more and more in control of how your life goes, where it's headed, and what else you're doing. All right. Now, within this monthly annual savings goals, let's talk about something. 2 points. 1, you need 10, 20, 30, 40-year objectives. I have an objective for 10 years from now. I have an objective for 20 years from now. I know what we want to be. I had an objective when I was 60. We hit it too. Kind of exciting. And so, what it is, you think small when you start? I wouldn't have said, well, I want $50 million by such and such an age, or I want $100 million by such and such an age. My gosh, right? I remember when we had 30,000, I thought it was a big deal. And one of my mentors practically slapped me when I told him I thought that was awesome to have 30,000 and challenged me to become a cash millionaire. And a little over 2 years later, we were. And thank goodness I had somebody challenging me, get me to think bigger and think longer and get more excited about saving and to keep me on track with spending less than I make. And so having these objectives pull you along from year to year, decade to decade. This is about really, really getting your life in order and your home in order financially. And then, last point, you need to revisit and redefine your commitment regularly. This is the stuff it takes. Now, whole books have been written on this, and we can go on, and I'm not going to do it. You may think I've already done it. But the reality is, these are the basic principles. And you've got to have a plan. You got to have automatic withdrawals. You got to have clear goals on a monthly and annual basis. You got to have some increments. You could also do 5-year increments, 5, 10, 15, 20, and then revisit and redefine. Just like we have to go back with the securities license and meet with our clients and, at least annually, and you get them to revisit and redefine. Maybe they're making more, so maybe they can now save more. And, we got to do that work with them so that they continue to progress. This is what we teach other people to do. Then will you please make sure it's what you're doing? Leaders, you have even more of a responsibility in this area because people are looking to us for how we conduct ourselves and make sure we get it right. Okay. I hope you at least had a couple laughs in the other, in our reverse psychology section. I think probably a lot of you are wincing a little bit too because it hit a little bit too close to home. But that's okay as long as you resolve to change it and you change it now. And so if there's anything about this slide that's up in front of you now, about a plan and and all this stuff that you are doing, do it. Do it. Start it. Make it happen. And then we can get you to the promised land. This is the way to the promised land. But actually, I just pointed at it. I don't know if you saw me. But anyway, this is how you got to do it. Because I want you to do it, before you're 70 or whatever this guy is, And but I tell you what, if you're sitting there at 60 and 50 and you haven't done it, this is what you got to do. And you really got to pour it on in the business and make some extra money so you can put aside more principal to make up for lost time. And there you are. Okay. Our next webinar is going to be on how to live a big, balanced, happy life. I'm going to include some spiritual things, not in the things of, hey, you ought to go to this church, right? Or even what kind, you understand what I'm saying? And we have a fully diverse company. We have people that from devout believers and all kinds of things to non-believers and everything in between. And it ain't going to be that, right? I'm not proselyting. But we are going to talk about how to live a big, balanced, happy life, and whether you call it prayer, or you call it meditation, or whatever you do, we're going to be talking about some of these things of how, look at what that gal's doing, home and money and children and work and health and love. And, this is the stuff we juggle. And that's going to be October 10th, 2012. And we're going to make something good happen. And I'm excited about it. And I'm wondering if you want to live a bigger, notice I did put big, right? A bigger, balanced, happy life. Because I tell you what, I've already started preparing for this one. I've been I've been working on this already for a couple of weeks in preparation for giving this one. This one means a lot to me, just like the one I just gave you does. And because the one I just gave you is part of this. You don't get your act together on the money side, and that one drops to the floor when you're juggling. It can start blowing up a lot of other stuff. It's not as big as blowing up your spiritual life or your love life, but it's in the top 3. So we're going to talk about these areas and talk about, how the people I've watched who've done this well have done it, the things I've learned from people, that dropped it, things I learned from myself when I wasn't balanced and that creeped into my life and the problems that come with it and how this really takes work. Perfect balance is a myth, but you can get your act together and keep it together if you understand, again, certain principles and live by them. So I'm excited to talk about that stuff with you. It'll be a good time as we're coming into the last part of the year to be thinking about it. And you guys, I hope all of you conclude with this. We just moved past 9/11, or 11 years ago, all our lives changed and our country's life and feelings changed. I hope you remembered that, and I hope you pondered it. You don't know. It's, I was watching a movie. A warrior was ready to go out and fight and said, basically, I'm ready. And this person warned him, that death could be part of the equation. And he says, I don't feel like I'm going to die today. And the guy said, no one ever does. We had a couple thousand people head off to work, go get on a plane, go up into the top of a building, and they weren't thinking about dying then either. And some of those people that were above the crash lines, the only decision that was left to them was whether they're going to burn or jump. And that was a really, really bad day. And since then, we've had the military involved and thousands of other lives. And so I want you to remember those guys too, and the price they pay, and how they're out there, facing, life-threatening situations all the time. So I appreciate those who defend us, and I appreciate the families that suffered through that and have tried to build, lives without, husbands and wives and mothers and fathers and parents and for children and all of that stuff. And so it's good to think about that stuff once in a while. It deepens us. I think it increases our gratitude. We're living, we're breathing. We still have our dreams. We're looking forward to our future. We never know how long it's going to be. So all the more reason to make sure we're doing things right and we're taking care of the people we love and that we're thinking and dreaming a big, balanced, happy life. So I look forward to talking about that with you next month. All right. I love and appreciate you. Been a pleasure talking with you. We're done early. I hardly even know what to do with myself. Okay. Talk to you in a month, except for the people that I'll see in between. Go get them. Bye.